This is Matt Strapp back with another video tackling how to rebuild a team in NHL franchise mode. And I decided to go with the Pittsburgh Penguins just because they're kind of in the perfect situation where they're kind of falling out of playoff contention, and as soon as Crosby, Malkin, and Letang are gone, they're going to be in a pretty decent rebuilding situation. So I thought they would be perfect. This comes with the caveat that I am a Flyers fan, so this is going to be a little painful for me to rebuild them. I want to try to help you guys as much as I can rebuilding your teams. And quite honestly, Pittsburgh is very ideal for this situation. Looking at our coaching staff, we are going to look to move on from Muse because he is an A overall. When you are rebuilding, it is key to know that you really want to try to aim for all your coaches at C's. You don't want your team punching above their weight. You want to try to tank, unfortunately, as much as possible. You want those upper echelon draft picks to help establish your pillars for your new team down the road. Looking over at scouts, I mean, starting off, I've never had two A minuses, so we're already off to a good start here. So they have a pretty good scouting staff. So we have about 5 scouts that we're going to let go right off the bat because they're C- or below. Always get rid of your scouts that are C- or below. They're pretty much useless. And then any AHL scouts you have. Now, if they're above a C, they're in a B- and above range. What I like to do is, instead of firing them, you're going to select them. You're going to go over to the region familiarity, and then, you know, maybe Nielsen can be reassigned to the NHL Atlantic. He's an A overall in that region, or NHL Pacific A-. A- is the lowest I'll go for region familiarity, but I try to do A or above. So I could probably keep Nielsen. Let's see about Bell. Bell, we can probably put them in the QMJHL or USA West. And wow, we have an AHL 8-rated scout. So he will be going. There's multiple places that I can throw him, so that's good. So we'll be retaining them, just reassigning their regions, to be honest with you. And that's our staff. So for a rebuilding team, this is a really good start. Honestly, I'm a little more optimistic than what I thought I was going to be walking into. So the second thing you want to do when you are rebuilding a team is look over the roster construction and note the positional spread, and also your bad contracts or any contracts that you can see moving. So first things first, you got Crosby, Malkin, Carlson, and Letang. This is not a normal situation where you have 4 Hall of Famers on your team. You want to do them right, especially Crosby. I'm one of those people that's like, you know, maybe send them to Colorado or Montreal to win one more cup. But he's a phenom. I don't want to get rid of him. I think I'm gonna hold on to him for one more year and then send him on his way, but we'll see. Malkin, he's 39. Got Carlson and Letang as your pretty much top pair defensemen. Letang criminally underpaid, and so these are our pinnacle guys. They're old. They're on their way out, unfortunately. It's going to suck to see Crosby go, and that's me as a Flyers fan. It was always hard when he was playing the Flyers, but you got to respect him. What he's done for the game is, you can't put into words. But going back into rebuild mode. So we got a logjam at center here. So we're going 8, 9. So we have 9 NHL centers on this roster. going into the system. We have 4 in the minors that are pretty much NHLers as is. We have 1 prospect, maybe 2 with Bros. So centers, we're gonna have to trade out some because we got 13 centers total, 9 in NHL, 4 in the minors. We're probably gonna make some deals. Off the bat, I would say probably Kevin Hayes and Noel Akari is probably gone. Left wingers, this is a huge issue. We only have 1 NHL winger, 4 guys in the minors with maybe 2 prospects. Zenon, definitely for sure. I don't know about Yar Venti right here. 7th round pick as a top 6. That's really good. But yeah, we're gonna have to add in some left wingers. So we're gonna be making a bunch of trades right off the get-go to fix our left wing situation. As for our right wingers, we have 4 in the NHL and 2 in the AHL. With it, like, I understand these guys are 18, but they're not prospects, not prospect potential. So right wing, I would say so far is our biggest issue, especially again going back to these guys they're old. To our defense, it's old. It's old. You got 7 NHL contracted defensemen. We'll start going down the list here. You got 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, dear God. So you have 20 defensemen under contract. We're going to have to move some guys out. This is a huge logjam. Normally I wouldn't mind logjam on defense, but, you know, you got old guys. There's some young guys here. I would say Pernicki, probably a prospect. I take that back. He's a prospect. Pickering, he's on the edge. We're going to look at him very, very closely. 6'5" defenseman. I would love to keep him if he can grow into it. Petilia, he's going to need to do some growing. And then 2 top 6 prospects. Defense overall not too bad. A goaltending pretty decent for a rebuilding roster. To be honest, I really like Archer Seelovs. In reality, I think he's got potential. I think he's one of the most underrated goalies in the NHL. And then we got Stuart Skinner for the Tristan Jarry trade. I really hope that he can find himself in Pittsburgh now that he's out of that environment. And we go to our AHL. So the goalie spread's pretty balanced, I would say. Diego, I guess I would call him a prospect. Blomqvist, I know he's got a lot of promise. But we definitely should draft goalies and restock this because Larson I'm probably going to end up getting rid of. Miroshov, in reality, I've heard he's making noise. But in the game, he's 75 at 21, so he's got room to grow. Honestly, goaltending-wise, they're in a lot better situation than I really thought, personally. While we are on contracts, and we can see our player potential, age, and overall, I want to go through and identify now the pillar players of the team going forward. Not now, but hopefully 5 years down the road. These are the players that you're going to say, no matter what trade offer comes in, I am not touching them. You can temporarily say, okay, Crosby, Malkin, they're untouchable for now until the right trade comes along, or if you can get them to waive their no-move clause. But for now, let's stick to our young guys, identifying our pillars for 5 years down the road. Now these guys, I try to identify and have one forward, one defenseman, and one goalie at least. So I have more players that I am comfortable letting go of. But sometimes you just have too many prospects in the system and they're too good to take away unless you have a real logjam. So I would say no more than 2 pillar centers, left wingers, right wingers. You can have 2, I would say maybe 3 pillar defensemen if you're that lucky, and then 1 pillar goalie if you can. So just looking at the center situation for the Penguins, I would say right off the bat, Kindle. I know he's only a top 6. I would like that to be elite, but a 79-18 at a top 6 the potential, that's pretty good. So I would identify Kindle as our pillar for our centers. Left wingers, I'm hesitating saying Zanin, but I think I'm going to have him as our pillar for our left wingers, especially because we don't really have too much of a choice. Right wingers, I would say we probably don't have any for sure in this case. As far as defensemen go, we don't have any elite defensemen, unfortunately, but I would absolutely say Branicki here, 78-19, top 4 overall, or potential. He's definitely someone I don't want to touch. He would be a pillar. Pickering, I would say borderline. Again, we're going to watch him closely. Patila, we're going to do the same thing, watch him closely, but again, not really a pillar. The top 6 guys, they're not as good as the top 4 will be. I think they'll be decent players, but I don't think they'll be pillar level. So yeah, so that's what we got for our defensemen. So for goaltending, I'm just gonna say Diego for now. He's a 62 starter at 18 is pretty good in NHL, especially since a lot of the goalies coming out of the draft are in the low 40s most of the time, especially if they're elite potential. I'm not sure why. So we're gonna keep an eye on Diego, and I'm gonna say he's probably gonna be our cornerstone goalie for this future team. Now we're going to go into our roster analysis. Now I come up with a structure of the ideal construction of your lines, and I'll show it up now. So when we're looking at the Penguins, it's mostly in decent shape. Like our top left winger is Hyman. So we're missing a first line center spot or left wing spot. Right wing, we're doing okay. Malkin's kind of out of place just because of how good he is. And you can survive a second line center being like that as long as you're under the cap and you can make things work. But this is kind of this where we start having that issue where, all right, so third line, we're starting to get into an issue. So I have on my third line 80 through 83. So we're stuck with either McGroarty as a third line left winger or Connor Dewar. So either way, that's a bit of a red flag. And then because of our logjam here on the right wing, an 82 overall for Justin Brazeau. He's 1.5. That's not a bad contract. So is it out of place? Yes, but I think it's more ideal than anything. So really the only thing is this left wing issue is the most glaring option or thing that we have to address. We need a pinnacle left wing desperately, and we need to get a second line left winger here because Kevin Haynes is not going to do it. McGroarty's still growing. He's only 21. Connor Dewar, I think he's a good guy to have on the fourth line. So overall, offense is not looking too bad. So looking at defense now, defense it's kind of the same thing, but I feel like it's more of a glaring issue here. Carlson and Letang, not bad. The second pairing, like I would say ideally you want 83 to 87 here. Having an 82 and an 81 here, it's not good. But for a rebuilding situation, I'll give it a pass. And then the third pairing, 77 through 83. So not bad, as long as these guys aren't getting paid any more than $4 million. And that's adjusted based off of the percentage of a typical player in that position is getting paid for now because of the cap hit going so high, or the salary cap going so high. So they're both getting paid under 4. I would say Dumba, I would say slightly overpaid, to be honest. Like 3.75 at that, I don't like that. Then we'll go to our goaltending situation. Again, I think it's good. Technically, Skinner should be above an 85 or an 85 or higher. Again, we're rebuilding, so that's fine in this situation. If we're competing, that'd be an issue. And Shilovs as the backup. I think I'm going to switch these two, to be honest. Just because I want Shilovs growing. He's only 24. He's only going to get better. I personally like him more than Skinner. But if Skinner finds himself, becomes a starter, I'm not going to complain. Just going over everything quickly again. Our centers, not too bad. Right wing, I would say more ideal for a competitive and contending roster than it is rebuild. And our left wing, definitely an issue, especially with our top 2 lines. Defense, ideal first pair, and then second and third pairing, not so good. And then our goaltending situation, again, this is ideal for a rebuild, but if you're contending, you would want at least an 85 overall as your starter, but right now I would say this is pretty good. Before I forget, again, look at the bottom left corner. Look at your projected spend. When you're rebuilding and you're selling pieces to accumulate draft picks in a rebuild, which is what you want to do the majority of the time, make sure you're above this projected spend. That is your salary cap for this year. So, for instance, ours this year is 70.6 million, I believe, if I remember correctly. So we have to make sure if we are trading off pieces, we either have to take back contracts that will keep us at the cap floor, or if you're anticipating a trade or after a trade, you want to sign a free agent to a little higher contract than they would normally get to make that cap floor. A good example is Chicago. They've done it a couple times with Nick Foligno. If I'm not mistaken, Corey Perry got one as well at one point. I think they were both for $4 million at that time, just so Chicago can hit the cap floor because they had so many young guys on the team. So just make sure you're always keeping an eye on that projected spend. Stay above the cap floor. Either sign free agents to inflated contracts on 1 years. Make sure they're 1 year. Or if you're doing a trade, make sure you're taking money back in a trade. Now, unfortunately, I don't like doing that just because sometimes you lose draft pick value, but you know, it is what it is. Almost forgot too, we have to assess our draft pick situation. So for this year, Pittsburgh's looking pretty good. They have 1 first, 3 seconds, 2 thirds, no 4th or 5ths, but a 6th and 2 7ths. So this is great, but we want to stock the cupboards a little more. And then next year we have 2 seconds and 3 thirds. And after that, we have another 2 second rounders and 2 third rounders. So we are pretty stacked as far as draft picks and another second rounder. So Pittsburgh's looking pretty good for the foreseeable future as it is right now. But we want to add draft picks, add value, and maximize our return on those draft picks and get this team going again. Just showing you guys that I updated our coaches. Our head coach is now C, so we can maximize that rebuild and maximize the tank to get those high draft picks. With our scouts, I'm really happy how this turned out. I'm in a lot better spot than what I thought I would be. It's rare to get an A, let alone 2 A rated scouts in the first year, let alone all these Bs. And when I went and hired my scouts, all of them but 3 were already assigned to the areas that I wanted them to be. So that made it a lot easier. So luckily I can maximize the draft scouting and get some good prospects on our watch list for the upcoming draft this season. Also, real quick, just wanted to go over the draft board. We don't have any watch listed because we haven't sent our scouts out yet, but again, going through our draft class for this year, we have 9 picks as of right now before any trading. Our forward depth chart, it's rated a C. Everything's neutral, but our depth is our strength. I really wanted to get the top prospects and the forward prospects up to strength after this year, ideally. Defensive, it's overall an E, which I think it's harsh, but again, our blue line's old, so a lot of these guys are going to be gone in 5 years anyway. So you can see our top 4 and top 6 of our defense is our weakness. Depth is our strength. I would absolutely agree. Top prospects and defensive prospects are our strength. I'm kind of borderline with that. I don't think that's too accurate, but I want to make it better anyway. And then our goalies are any that makes more sense. Starting goalies are weakness, backup goalies are strength. That makes sense. Depth goalies, again, strength. We have Blomqvist in the system. Top prospects and goalie prospects are strengths as well. I wouldn't agree with that. Just because Marashov and Larson are kind of stalling out, like not stalling, but they're getting to an age where they'll stop growing. So I think we have to replenish our goalies as well. And I will be taking 1 goalie every draft. That's just how I do it. No draft goes without a goalie. So I just wanted to show you guys our depth chart, just the analysis of our team, and where we need to start getting to work. Just a couple quick things going into the trade deadline. 1, I always do my trades the day before the trade deadline, and it's pretty obvious. It's just so you have more time to play around with all the trades that you can do. And then the second thing is, if you do decide to go into trade deadline, which most of the time I sim it because I get it done the day before, you want to just make sure you note that you're a seller and sell off your guys, especially for this rebuild. So right now, my main issue is I was trying to really sell off Crosby, Carlson, and Letang. I kind of want to do Rust, but I think he's good to keep around at least for now. So in this situation, like, they have no move clauses. Crosby has another year left and then he's gone, and so does Carlson. So I think in this case it's wise to just hold on to them for another year, see if they'll waive them. They didn't this year. Maybe next year they'll waive their no move clause, and we'll get more draft picks for the next season. As for Letang, I'm just going to keep asking him every year until he waives it. He's 38. Like, I can't imagine next year that he's going to be any better than an 86. And just going through, like, right now, I have $74 million in projected spend, and I have to be at the cap floor of 70. So I'm kind of in a rough spot here because I just made so many trades, and I'll show you guys later all the trades I made. But Mantha, he's a perfect rental. So is Heinen. And, like, in any other time, if I wasn't pressed up against the cap, I would try to trade these guys. I still might, just because, again, they're good rental pieces. I can just get a young prospect in return and just sign a couple free agents to those high contracts, which I kind of already did. I'll show you guys real quick. Because I was kind of getting close to the cap floor, and I was like, well, I need to make that. I need to make it to the cap floor. So I got McKinn to a 1 year 5. DeFore, 1 year 5. Again, these are 1 years. It's just to get to the cap floor, so it's okay. You can deal with it. If you do this, make sure you're doing 1 year. And I would say no, don't go anywhere north of 5. Just in case you have to make a trade, or you just never know. But those contracts will really save you. And I think that was it for the trade deadline approach. It just make sure you mark as selling if you go into the trade deadline. Like I said, I'd like to do it before, so I have more time to do trades. It's up to you guys. That's my personal preference. I just wanted to point that out real quick. And another thing I wanted to point out, and just to make sure, since we are in a rebuilding mindset, make sure if you do any trades, you are getting either draft picks back or you're getting young prospects back. And I will show you the trades I made. They were kind of mixed bag. I think this time around I did mostly young players, just because I wanted to experiment a little bit, see what I could get and see who I can build up. Like most of the time in the past, I would absolutely go for draft picks, but with this playthrough, I just wanted to go through and get younger guys who are on the upswing and see what I can do with them. As we're in the trade deadline, I would just like to make another note. So as far as our rebuilding goes, if I am selling, I will field any trade offers to sell. I kind of sold everything I wanted to, but you know, you can always buy. And when I say buy, I mean I'm looking for young guys like Zellweger, who's an 83 at 22. Perfect for the timeline. He's young and he can grow. I will definitely try to add players like him. The only thing is defense is a little locked up, so maybe not Zellweger exactly, maybe Devin Levi again. But the only time you're buying as a rebuilding team is if you are buying young players, and make sure they can grow, they have room to grow, and make sure they're at an age where they'll fit the timeline of your rebuild. And rebuilds, I would say a safe bet is within 5 years. Prime example, 19-year-old prospect, pretty decent trade value for a top 6 forward at 71. Coughing up a surplus of second and third round pick. And there we go. So as a rebuilding team, through all the trades that we made through the season and trade deadline, I think we made out pretty good. The only one that possibly got away was Minnesota had an elite right winger that was pretty much ready to go, and they wanted Rust, and I was like, okay, and they decided that they didn't want his cap hit, so they declined it. But as of all the trades this year, we have 4 firsts, 3 seconds, and 2 thirds, and I will show you all the draft picks that we've gotten later down the road, probably at the draft. But here's all the moves I made during the season. Again, it yielded a lot of high picks for this year and next, as well as getting younger players that I think fits the timeline for the rebuild, and I'm willing to take a chance on. And unfortunately, that's dropped a bunch of our depth chart grades to E, but that is completely fine. It's going to be rough. It's probably going to be rough next year, but honestly, I think we are looking good for the future. This is just another in-season note for you guys. If you're doing a rebuild and you're trying really hard like me to tank, at some point, Chris Letang got a major injury, and he's coming back. He's clear to go. But it is so late in the season, I'm like, you know what? Let's just deactivate him. That's what I'm going to do. It's March 25th. So I deactivated him, and unfortunately, we are still winning. And it's just something that I like to do to try to guarantee the tank and try to get that crucial #1 pick if I can. I had to show you guys the tanking paid off and got the first overall pick. So hyped right now. Before we jump into the NHL entry draft, I pinned a bunch of players off screen, including Yakupov, who's got an elite potential, and he's a goaltender, which we would definitely need. So I noted his position. The central scouting rank is 74, but my scouts have him ranked as 70. So I made a note down on my roster breakdown sheet, and I'm going to try to draft him probably either with my late 2nd rounder or early 3rd rounder. We'll see where everything lines up. And I kind of noted our weaknesses for our draft needs. So we need a right winger, a left winger, a goalie, a center, then a defenseman. Again, defense we have an abundance of, and I think our weak spot is definitely our wingers. The only thing I would say is if I go to, let's say, the draft class, this is a special case where I have the first overall pick, and if you have the first overall pick, you have to take whoever's ranked #1. You have to go with the best available player in the draft. I can't justify going down 1 spot, especially if he's ranked 3rd and not 2nd. According to my scouts, I trust my scouts more than I trust the central ranking. So I'm probably going to take Sadikov first overall and then fill out my winger spots from there. Alright, so going into the draft. So it's finally draft day. What I like to do first thing, I know I have the first overall pick, it's called timeout. And then all you're going to do, just take note of your projected picks and just make sure you got the numbers right. Is go to your picks under proposed trade, and it shows you all the spots. Now in this case I lucked out, did my math right, got all my spots right. So like I said, Yakupov I think is going 74th, but I think I'm gonna just bite the bullet and take him early. I've noticed sometimes if you wait even at the 10th round or 10 picks above a player that you want, sometimes they'll take them, especially if they're a standout. So I just wanted to point that out real quick. And then we're going to draft Sadikov first overall. 82 sniper. So I know centers is kind of like bottom of the barrel in terms of needs right now, but I think he'll be a good replacement for Crosby. I know that's kind of hard to say, but Crosby's getting old, unfortunately. He's going to retire soon anyway. So, and I think having it 82 elite center at 18 is a good start to get this team back on the rebound. So I'm just going to, I always like to send the first 2 picks just to have fun with it, just to see. Wow. Should have drafted Ovechkin. So that was the entry draft. I think we got a bunch of young talent, which is the primary goal for the draft, especially doing a rebuild. Feel free, if you want to, during drafts, to sell off some other pieces. I could have sold off Rust, but I figured it's probably better to just keep them through the summer and get a 2027 pick, because we got plenty of picks in this round. And I know I have plenty of picks for next year, but, you know, try to flip them for a first if I can. So, we're really pleased with this draft. Alright, so this is post-draft. We're going through the contracts just to take a look at our guys. So, Kindle was the guy I was blanking on for our center prospect. I would say now it's between him and Solikov for center position, and Crosby got better as he continues to do. Sadikov leads our prospects in the system. This is definitely better than what it was, and I understand that most of them got pushed off because of all the trades, but I think the centers are looking better, a lot more balance. This is our left wing situation. McGinn and Pinier probably won't be here next year, but this is looking a lot better. We got Connolly here, Portois, Cristal, Yarvets, and then I think this is looking a lot better down here than what it was. As we look at the right wings, I don't know if the 4 will be here. I think I will keep him. And this is looking a lot better. So many more prospects. So much more promising. So defensemen, we'll probably look to get rid of Witherspoon and make some room. Another goal is to try to get rid of Carlson. We might keep Letang for another year, but I'm not sure. We'll see how he goes, because I want to make room for Zimmerman. I have a feeling maybe Lampos here or Petilia might take a jump enough to get into top 6, but we'll see. But again, kind of restock the cupboards for defense. Worst case scenario, if there's too much of a logjam down here, flip them for picks or address another position. And goalies, Sheloffs, Lundqvist, looking good. And I like this better. We have Diego, and if he doesn't pan out, we got Yakupov. So I think we're in a lot better position after year 1. So with free agent contracts, now there's not a lot of good examples here because a lot of these guys are kind of under contract. Tomasino, young guy, rebuilding team, gonna re-sign him. McGinn, like I said, he's probably gonna get let go. Pinard, gone. And yeah, there's not really a lot of other guys that are like good examples here. So really, I think what's gonna happen is I'm just gonna end up signing like young guys of a bunch of potential and sign them to a bunch of 1 years, because I think I'm going to be under the cap considerably for next year. And I'm going to do that off screen. Again, re-signing your guys. Make sure they're young, room to grow, fit in the timeline. If they don't, feel free to sign them and then flip them July 1st. That's what I like to do. Flip them for assets. This is part 2 of free agency, where we're at July 1st, and now we're going to sign our free agents. So the only thing is, if you see it at the bottom of the screen, we have a lot of cap space, but the team cap hit is at 62.28 million, and we need to be at 79. So I'm going to be signing a bunch of 1-year contracts and desperately try to get to the cap floor. And I'm really going to try to hit guys like Duke here, 23 at 83. He's young. Unfortunately, he's an RFA. Like, I can do it. I just don't like offer sheeting people. That's just a personal preference. I don't mind if you guys do. I like to keep my draft picks whenever I can. And again, since we're rebuilding, I personally would not go for like Alex Talk or Claude Giroux here. I mean, it's 1 year. These are perfect 1 year. Like with Claude Giroux, if you're contending, a 1 year at an 87 to help you get over the hump. But as a rebuilding team, no, we're looking for young guys or old guys who are low overall and are good for 1 year, like Shen here, except I don't need a defenseman. Maybe I'll grab Eller. But I really want like bottom of the barrel if I can. Here, Jonathan Taves would be perfect. Low overall, so he's not going to make our team better. He's just going to keep it competitive, and he's not going to disrupt our tanking efforts. I always like to try to go for the first overall pick if possible whenever I'm rebuilding. But there is a time where you have to start building upwards. So you don't want to do it too long. I would say your first 2 years of rebuild, get that first overall pick, and then after that, keep going or start trending upwards. And then goalies, like, we don't need them, but like for instance, if we did Akira Smeed here, perfect. 82 at 26. Except again, he's a UFA. Okay. Jonathan Quick, perfect 1 year. You can max out his contract. And now we'll pretty much wrap it up for year number 1. Just wanted to show you guys real quick the outcome of free agency. So our centers are looking good. In the system, we have a couple minor league players that are at 5 million because, you know, got to get to that cap floor. Just, again, make sure you're signing on to 1 years if you're going to do this. It's just to get to the cap floor, nothing else. All right. Brandon Saad, I decided to sign, and I decided to keep McKinn. Again, just to get to the cap floor, 1 year deals. And our minors, like, we're looking so much better than last year. And I also signed a bunch of these guys. Now, normally I want to sign a bunch of minor players to exorbitant contracts. Normally I wouldn't sign minor players to such rich contracts, but if I'm going to get rid of Russ, that's 5 million. If I'm going to get rid of Carlson, he's going to be another 10 off my books, but I'll probably retain 50% because he's on a 1 year. Because, you know, you got to try. Ooh, you can get rid of Letang this year if we wanted to. I'm also going to try to move Graves. Again, this is all high cap hits that I have to compensate for. And I'm hoping to move a couple guys so I can sign Zimmerman, because I think he would be perfect, especially when Carlson is gone. And then goalies, looking good. So this is rebuild year number 1, rebuild part 1. This is just starting out and what you should do in year number 1. I'm hoping to do 2 more rebuilding episodes. The second one's kind of like a middle of the road rebuild where we're starting to trend upwards instead of down. And then the third one is trying to get out of it. So look for that in the future, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.